A talk show that cuts to the truth, no matter how painful it might be, and no BS. Citizen Smith, Citizen Smith, Citizen Smith.
Here's a man who would not take it anymore. A man who stood up against the scum, the dogs, the filth. Here is someone who stood up.
It's time for Citizen Smith.
Good morning. How are you today on September 2nd? Here at TalkCast PDX and Citizen Smith. Uncensored. New York is being ravaged by flood, as well as much of the Northeast. I had a little weather warning on my phone for Massachusetts and Plymouth, where I used to live, and flooding going on there. This is all the results of Hurricane Ida. And I'm talking, they're getting slammed. The subways are being flooded. More than 150,000 homes in New York. Floods. Pennsylvania without power. More than a foot of rain fell in just a few hours. What? That's a lot of water. Damn. The rain broke records set just 11 days before the tropical storm Henry. Climate change, boy, is it Mother Nature is kicking our ass. I mean, if it isn't fires on the West Coast, it's floods and rains and hurricanes and tornadoes. I mean, I know we always get these anyway, but they're getting more and more and stronger and breaking records. I'm looking at the photos of the water going through the subway system of New York in the streets. Man, they get people in rafts. People died, 20 people, and counting if they find any others. Look at this. The cars in Philadelphia, the floodwaters are over the cars in the streets. That's how much friggin' rain they got. So we've got the wildfires here, but they've got that over there. I mean, what a year, what a world. Damn, things are getting bad. Stormy weather. They call it I don't know the pronunciation, Schuylkill River, whatever, Schuy. I've never even heard of it, Lkill. Flooded, covering nearby roadways and rendering them impassable in Philadelphia on the Vine Street Expressway. There's other photos here. Completely covered cars. Man, I woke up this morning, I'm like, wow. Didn't see that coming. Fallen trees. Utility poles. It's a disaster area. Maryland. Look at that. I mean, it looks like a hurricane hit, but it wasn't a hurricane. It's just flash floods and rain and
pretty nasty.
You know, you see the results of the Louisiana situation, and that's. But then the backlash from the hurricane coming north. In Pennsylvania, at the the Wilmore Dam was going. The water was going over the top at one point of the dam. 42,000 residents were ordered to move to higher ground. It's like a goddamn monster movie. Disaster film. 5 inches of rainfall flooded the roads of Massachusetts. Tornado watch was in effect until 7 a.m. in Nantucket, Provincetown. I mean, Nantucket is an island off of Cape Cod. Provincetown is the tip of Cape Cod, and they never get tornadoes. For a tornado to come through those areas is a freak.
A tornado?
Yeah, I mean, this is nuts. God damn, we're getting crazy. Mother Nature's just kicking our butts. I never seen anything like it. Well, we ever got a tornado around here? When's the last time
There's been a couple.
Portland had a tornado?
There's been a couple that touched down, like places like Hillsborough, and there's been a couple.
Really?
Yeah.
It's unusual, though.
Highly, highly unusual.
I'm looking for unusual stuff this year.
Yeah.
We're bound to get something here, right? Torrential downpours, like we've been through the driest summer. What's going to happen? We're going to get flooded with rain. A tornado's going to sweep through. Switching gears, Joe Rogan, the well-known $100 million podcaster of Spotify now, was touting not getting vaccine for COVID on his show early on. Well, he's got COVID. He was doing a tour recently around Florida, came back with COVID-19 symptoms. Said he felt crappy, like flu-like symptoms. And they get tested. There was another conservative talk show host. He was touting not getting the COVID vaccine. Then he got COVID. And then he died.
He
So
did.
are we going to stop with that bullshit? It's almost like you're asking for it when you say, hey, you don't need the COVID vaccine. You don't need to protect yourself from this virus. I'm not doing it. I'm telling you as a talk show host, don't get it. Now, dead. He was in the hospital. I think this was a Pennsylvania host that I was reading about for a conservative radio station. Phil Valentine died after battling COVID August 22nd, this was reported. Nashville-based conservative radio talk show host. So he went out and touted not doing it, passed away from it. Now we got Joe Rogan, who touted, I don't know why he would say, he seems like a smart guy to me. Why would he tell people not to get the COVID vaccine? This was early on. Maybe he changed his opinion. He certainly did now. I mean, at this point in the game, is there somebody out there who doesn't believe getting the COVID vaccine is a good thing? If you are one of those people, you're the dumbest ass in America. You're going to die if you get this. Why would you mess around with something that can kill you like that? 48 hours, you could be on a ventilator, and the third day, you could be dead. Why would you not get a vaccine to protect yourself from something like that? That's proven to be safe. Who cares? Even if there's some side effects, whatever. I don't want to die like on a ventilator. I can't think of a worse way to friggin' die. Sitting in a hospital bed, isolated from everybody who can't visit you, while you're barely breathing and sucking off a ventilator. You tell me, which do you choose? Get a vaccine for some side effects, symptomatic side effects for 24 hours, 48 hours, and a sore shoulder, and then safe from dying like that. Enough already. Everybody in this country should be vaccinated now. And if you're holding out, you're just one of the dumbest people on the planet Earth. And if you are one of those people, please stop watching and listening to the show, because I don't want you as part of the audience, because obviously you're not capable of rationalizing life. I mean, this is getting frustrating to see people still getting it like this that should have been vaccinated, that are out there being public figures telling people not to do it. How reckless and irresponsible is that? I'm all for free speech, but I'm not for idiotic speech. Let's take a look at another story that I was following about. Yesterday, I was talking about the mask mandates for Oregon Ducks and Oregon State University football, and proving that you have a vaccination. So you need your vaccination card to get into these football games, and the Portland Trail Blazers and the Timber soccer games. And I was wondering about the NFL. So I looked it up, and there are a couple of teams that are mandating it. New Orleans is one. or you can prove that you have a negative COVID test 72 hours prior to a Saints game. So that's in effect.
How the hell are you going to do that?
What?
You have to go get a test before the game, 24 hours before the
72
game?
hours at least.
Jesus.
That's kind of stupid.
These are the people that get drunk at the stadium and lose their car. You expect them to go get a goddamn COVID test before the game. Are you kidding me?
It's easy enough, but I would just leave it at, look at, either you're fully vaccinated or don't come in.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
look, you could have the 72-hour test and then 24 hours later get it, and it won't show up in the test because it's 24 hours later or 48 hours later. So I don't know why they're allowing tests. That's just one more thing people have to look at too when they're coming through the screening process at the stadium gate.
Well, I was watching late night sports and listening, of course, to sports like I do every day, and they're talking about how Cam Newton was released possibly because he doesn't want to get vaccinated. That was one of the factors. They think that was part of the deal. They were speculating, of course.
Who's he? Who is this from? Who's
This
they?
was on the Dan Patrick Show.
Oh,
They had a guest on that said that it's been speculated that if you don't want to get the vaccine, it might factor into your status of whether or not you're going to be
you're
on that team.
jeopardizing the team.
Exactly.
You can't plan around the player being
And if
there.
you suck already, and if you're stinking up the field,
Yeah.
you're out.
I was thinking maybe he broke protocol, went out and partied or did something with some gal or, and left the area where they were restricted for practice or something and the facility to stay in. But now if he's just refusing to get the vaccine, I wonder if the player personnel union.
Oh yeah, the union's piping up already.
They'll jump in and say you can't do that. You can't force a player to get a vaccine and use that as grounds for firing.
But let's be honest, Cam Newton, why you don't have a job right now? It's 2 words: Mac Jones.
All right. So back on this NFL thing. Okay, so the the New Orleans Saints are one team asking for mandatory vaccination proof or 72-hour testing. Las Vegas Raiders also requiring spectators to wear masks at all times inside their dome stadiums. So when you go to a Saints game, you also have to wear masks in the stadium because these are.
Is there a straw hole for my beer?
These are indoor stadiums. So they're saying the ventilation's not as good. Now, an outdoor stadium like Gillette Stadium where the Patriots play, I would think that you don't need a mask because you've got the free-flowing air. I mean, if somebody's next to you and starts coughing in your face, you might be in trouble if they have it. But if they're fully vaccinated, I mean, you're playing a percentage game of like 5%. I'm not a medical doctor, but it's pretty low percentage, right? Somebody sitting next to you has COVID, you're in the outdoors, and you're contracting it. But if you're in a stadium, don't they have pretty good ventilation anyway? It's like being outdoors almost.
I don't know. It's kind of like an airplane, probably.
An airplane's a lot more constraint than.
No, I know. I don't mind wearing a mask on the airplane because I don't want to get everybody else's cooties anyways.
Yeah, I wouldn't fly in a plane now. Forget it. Take a train. Well, that train would be a little better.
Yeah, you can stay in your own little room.
Yeah. More than 17 million spectators are projected to attend live NFL games this season. This is from the interesting little sports website I found called frontofficesports.com. Very good. The NFL, how much money did they lose last year not having fans? Trivia question.
100 million.
Please. The NFL.
200 million.
Please.
$500 million.
$4 billion.
Oh, shit. Take them good, you take them bad.
That's the ticket sales that they lost because no fans could attend. That's a lot of money even for the NFL. So the question now is, what other NFL teams are going to require mandates for masks? Dallas Cowboys got an indoor stadium. They aren't requiring it. And they'll be last in line to do so. Texas, don't tell us what to do. The same place where they just banned abortions for any sign of a heartbeat of a of a fetus. But we'll get into that later. So the result of 32 teams, 11 NFL clubs playing domes or outdoor stadiums with retractable roofs or large opening doors. The Saints, Raiders, Dallas Cowboys, Atlanta Falcons, Minnesota Vikings, Indianapolis Colts, Detroit Lions, Houston Texans, Arizona Cardinals, and Los Angeles Rams and Chargers all playing those types of stadiums. I expect all of those stadiums and teams will be asking people to wear masks while they watch the game during this Delta variant surge. And then if we see a fall off and a complete turnaround, not asking people to wear masks. What do you think? Isn't that a fair assessment? Wouldn't it be a little irresponsible if they're concerned about the transmission of this virus in that kind of environment, enclosed environment?
Yeah, I've heard they've already rescheduled a couple games. They moved one game to Jacksonville because
Who?
it's outdoor at Green Bay, Dallas or something. I'm trying to look it up right now.
So just to be clear, so the Saints are asking for wearing a mask and proof of vaccination. The Raiders are not asking of proof of vaccination, just requiring. I'm sorry. The Raiders are not requiring proof of vaccination, but you have to wear masks in the stadium.
Yeah, I got this here. Packers Saints game moved to Jacksonville. I'm just trying to get a little more
Because
details on
the Saints, but
well, it says week 1, Green Bay Packers at New Orleans has been moved to Jacksonville
because it was going to be at New Orleans?
due to catastrophic damage and recovery efforts in New Orleans and around the state
Okay,
of
because of the
Louisiana.
hurricane.
Yeah.
All right.
I knew it was something to do with that.
All right. That has nothing to do with COVID, though.
Doesn't look like it.
All right. Nice try, though. It was a good scoop.
Yeah.
The Rams and Chargers Sophie Stadium in Los Angeles is a unique case. The massive $5 billion facility boasts a roof canopy that covers the playing field. So there's air that flows through the stadium. What a great stadium. I really just want to fly down there just to go to that stadium. So in that situation, I would not see mask mandates. Yeah.
Take the train.
Also,
rent a car, drive.
What do you think? I don't think they should have to wear masks in an outdoor setting or where there's free flowing air. I think that's.
Yeah, I'd wear it anyway, just because this thing can.
But let it be a personal choice, let it be a personal choice, not a mandate.
Scientists said that the 5-foot rule thing's a bunch of stupidness. You need 20 feet rule, really, but I'd probably wear one anyways because I don't trust slobs. People who get sick and go out in public. I just don't trust people.
Well, the big question is, will the NFL continue with full stadiums, or is there a possible about face if there's a sudden even more surge in the pandemic? I believe what I've read is the pandemic is going to peak in sometime this month. That's what I've read, and from scientists and doctors saying that it can only get so far, then it'll peak, and then start going down. With that scenario, I figured the NFL will just let people attend the games under certain restrictions or mandates because they are saying, quote, "We are planning on full stadiums across the league this year, but will remain flexible and adaptable as necessary," the NFL spokesman Brian McCarthy said in a statement. Quote, "Like last season, there may be different fan experiences depending on the current situation in the local markets, working in conjunction with public health authorities." And again, utilizing this nice little website, frontofficesports.com for that story. On another front, I just want to mention this because I think it's very interesting from a China watch standpoint as I look at Asia. There's a new platform that has been launched in Taiwan called Taiwan Plus, a video streaming platform, which they're launching as a way to face China's squeeze on their own country in the way China pushes out anti-Taiwan news and rhetoric and such from their propaganda machine. So Taiwan is now launching their new English language news and media streaming platform, Taiwan Plus, to give it a greater voice on the world stage and help tackle Beijing's squeeze of the Chinese claimed island on the world stage.
I wonder if they need any help. I'll help them out. Yeah, very good.
Good job, Taiwan Plus. Backed by $28 million of the Culture of Ministry budget.
We only need 500,000. Let's go help them.
So the president of Taiwan, Tsai Ing-wen, hopefully, when in a recorded message said, "It is our international media platform, a key part of our collective effort to show what Taiwan has to offer," she said. And this comes at a time when China is increasingly trying to isolate the country, as we know, flying military planes around the perimeter of the island. And China has its own China Radio International, which I worked at for 1 year, 2018 to 2019, doing features reporting. They actually brought me in to do a talk show, but as soon as I started espousing opinions, espousing opinions, like, you can't say that, he's going to get me fired.
So I can just see it now. First show, Citizen Smith steps up to the mic. You can't, that's wrong.
I said something little to the effect of when Xi Jinping and President Trump were negotiating on trade, I said, it's like a poker game, but everybody's holding their cards close to their chest, and nobody knows who's got the stronger hand at this point. And after the show, the little young, inexperienced talk show host I was working with says to me, "You can't say that. I'll get fired." I'm like, "What? It's a talk show. That's what you brought me in for."
Yeah.
So the head of the department brought me in, and he says, "Ken, maybe this talk show thing isn't a good idea for you. I think we have a better place for you. We'll put you on China Plus Facebook page, and we'll send you out, and you cover travel and culture and the arts, and it'll be fun.
That sounds like a dream job. Almost.
Yeah, we'll send you around the country and the city of Beijing, and have fun."
And then after that,
and that was for American audience. So they were doing this at China Plus America. So now you see Taiwan Plus doing their thing with their same focus of cultural sharing and news and such.
I like it.
So interesting.
We've had some comments today.
Oh, really? But what?
Well, let's see. A friend of the show, of course, Pete.
Yeah, Pete Lee.
Let's see. He said that. Let's see if I can bring it up here. I apologize. Small spaces like that need extremely well ventilated. He's talking about the bathrooms in stadiums that could be an issue.
Oh, very good point, Mr. Lee.
Yeah, big problem with stadiums are places like bathrooms.
I never even, I didn't think of that.
Gross.
I completely forgot about that idea.
Bathrooms are gross.
Or that aspect of, and who doesn't use the bathroom after a couple of beers?
Yeah.
I missed like some of the most key plays in the Pittsburgh Steelers Patriots game. There was like a goal line stand. I had to take a piss. I missed the whole damn thing. That's why I like to watch it on TV. You can pause.
Pause.
Gotta go pee.
Pause.
So thanks, Pete, for that. That's a good point. All right, then. So do we say mask mandate for all games?
Sure.
Just to play it safe and not have any sort of surge coming out of there or super spreader?
Yep, I agree. Sorry,
all right,
folks.
So Commissioner Goodell, you've heard it from Citizen Smith and Justin McDonald from Talkcast PDX. Mask mandate for all games until the surge is over. When we see a downturn, we'll relax a little bit. But hey, remember when we were talking to our guest from Vietnam who joined us? What's his name?
Yeah, Jordy.
And he was like, "What do you guys care about masks? It's not a big deal."
Yeah.
People wear masks all the time in Vietnam.
Right. That's right.
I mean, I don't like masks, but whatever. If it's going to save me from getting this damn thing, not a big deal.
I bet
I've adjusted my mentality.
When the people who make masks hear that, it's just like they can't wait. They're like, "Oh, all right, keep that mandate going."
Personally speaking, I'm starting to embrace the mask. I kind of like the hiding and
you're emotional.
Yeah,
it's perfect for Portland.
Yeah, I'm starting to embrace it and feel like comfortable. I might want to get something more creative and design oriented. Can we get a Citizen Smith mask? I would like to have the logo on the front, like a mouth where the mouth is. That would be great. Then I'd really love to wear it. It's promotional in value.
Maybe.
And I can get away with it.
we can get an extra 50
and we'll give them
cents.
away to give them away to
Let's see.
listeners and increase our listeners
See
because
what
we have to
we
buy
do.
them off. All right, I was going to talk about
Don't
this.
be a clown.
I was going to talk about this Texas abortion law, but I don't feel like I don't feel like talking about
that's
abortion
terrible.
right
Don't
now.
talk
I
about
hate
that.
the topic. It's important to talk about. We'll deal with it.
But yeah,
maybe
it's
tomorrow.
kind of heavy.
Maybe
Tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Get me all heavy.
I'm in a different mentality now.
Yeah.
Let's finish with our movie review. In this case,
review?
in this case, it won't be going to the theater. It will be Netflix.
Ah. What you got?
We got 2 documentaries that I watched, and they include Untold, Caitlyn Jenner,
Oh yeah,
the story
yeah.
of Bruce Jenner, formerly, now Caitlyn Jenner, the decathlon Olympian gold medalist, and also Bob Ross, Happy Accident, Betrayal, and Greed.
Yeah,
The fast painter of It's a Happy World, and I used to watch him on public.
Happy Little Trees.
Yeah,
man.
on public TV, and
Good stuff.
grew up watching him. Loved this show as everybody did. But first, Untold, Caitlyn Jenner.
Oh yeah, first here we go. I got the picture from Netflix. So.
Both documentaries about individuals that we grew up with in the 70s and 80s. But Caitlyn Jenner, the Untold story, is quite fascinating the way they did it. It's a 2021, of course, 1 hour, 10-minute production of his unlikely path to the Olympic glory that inspired the world and country, I should say, and then her move to the challenging transition of embracing her true self proved even more meaningful, as it says on the little outline here. Director Crystal Marcel, documentary, LGBTQ movie. I found it fascinating. First of all, I loved watching the beginning of the movie where it profiles his childhood, and then he went into college football, had a bad knee injury, ended his football career. So that's when he gravitated to the decathlon when one of the coaches at the school that he was at, which I can't remember, it was a smaller school. And he got into he had to train on his own. There was no coach. His wife helped him. He was completely independent, pretty much, training for the Olympics, and just 4 years of sticking to it. 8 hours a day. His wife got a job. He got a part-time job selling insurance.
He went to Graceland University.
Yes, and
home of the Yellow Jackets.
Just committed to being a decathlete and winning the gold. And then they had the Russian who he had to beat. It's just perfect Cold War stuff. And 1976, he wins the gold. And then it gets into how he got divorced from his first wife and then married the Caitlyn
Kardashian.
Not Caitlyn Kardashian. I forget.
Chris
Kardashian. Yeah. And then had the child. And then they become the reality TV family.
Yeah.
But
we all know.
They integrated his feelings of wanting to be a woman throughout his life, putting on dresses when he was in high school, and always had this thing in the back of his mind that he wanted to be but couldn't be because society wouldn't accept it. It wasn't something that started later in life. He'd been with him his whole life. And how they integrated his current day with the past really worked well. It doesn't delve much into his transitioned life as a woman. It kind of just interludes it, but it doesn't go in depth on it. It's more in depth on his career as an athlete leading towards his transition in life. So that is where I would have liked to have known more. But I think from my perspective, I enjoyed even the footage they had of him in training and at the Olympic Games, like behind the scenes. I don't know where he got all that, but they had all this great footage of his behind the scenes. Didn't want to do an interview, and back when he's preparing to go out, and his training. They had this footage of his training early on, and I just love watching that kind of sports documentary film and footage. So I give it a full bag of popcorn. Very, very good. And now let's talk briefly about the Bob Ross documentary, and now completely different. We go from sports to artist. Happy Accidents, Betrayal, and Greed. Talks about, it goes into how he brought joy to millions as the world's most famous art instructor, but a battle for his business empire cast a shadow over his happy trees.
Yeah, I was kind of taken back. I always liked Bob Ross, and I always watched the show. Always dug it. Didn't know it was so. The business side was so dark.
Mm. And
Yeah.
the controlling manager,
Mm-hmm. And some shady stuff that went on.
Joshua Rolfe, director, and it got behind the scenes. It kind of was unsettling because I had this very innocent view of him and his life, and it wasn't so much him, but the people behind the scenes. Although Ross, it seems, kind of got filled with an ego that made social life difficult for him with certain people, and more of a complex man, but kind of held his own persona as the artist, changed him into this persona of an art instructor that the public perceived, and he kind of embraced that perception. He's a very quiet guy, but he did tour the country and attract thousands where he went.
I was interested to hear a little bit about his Alaska history. He spent 14 years in Alaska.
Did he? Did that come
Yeah.
out? I don't think
Yeah,
that
he
came out.
said most of his images and his things are all
Oh,
Alaska.
they mentioned it, but they didn't say 14 years in the documentary,
yeah,
did they?
Yeah, he was in the Air Force.
Oh, right. When he went into the Air Force.
and
But
they
it was
went-
14 years he was there?
I believe so.
I
I
must
think
have
that's
missed
what they
that.
said.
Anyway, it's interesting. Both these documentaries are great to watch. Well done. This one also gets a full bag of popcorn. Completely different in their, what they profile for the subject, and both just came out on Netflix. Pretty much, it's nice to see Netflix getting some stuff out because they kind of stagnated for a little bit there in the pandemic, and I was getting a little tired of looking at the same old
He actually
stuff.
lived 20 years in Alaska. Sorry.
Huh?
I know. Interesting.
What part did this?
Well,
That didn't come out in the documentary. They kind of,
Yeah.
went over that quickly.
He was, I'm trying to find out where he lived, but it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. So
He was stationed in Fairbanks, it looks like. So just outside of Fairbanks, Eielson Air Force Base. Cool.
Women loved him, flocked to him, and he embraced that too. he got the big fluffy hairdo because that wasn't original. He changed it for the image and embraced that as well. So there you go. Those are the two documentaries. Now, I hope to see either tonight or tomorrow. I'll head back to the theaters at Cinemark, where I see all my movies. Great place in the Eastport Plaza and Central East Side. Shang-Chi is an action hero, and this stars Simu Liu, and he's the one from
Kim's
Convenience Store, which I was shocked that it was him at first when I saw.
Yeah, right.
Because his portrayal in that comedy, Canadian comedy,
He's the hot roommate.
it's far different than you would think of him as a superhero. But so anyway, I'll be looking at this movie and watching it. I'm kind of apprehensive. They probably geared more to kids, but we'll give it a shot and see what it's like and give the review as soon as we get it.
I think it'll be good.
An Asian superhero as the central character. Don't see that. First time, as a matter of fact, on an American stage, and soon to be international movie star. And you can bet your ass this one's going to make like $1 billion in China. This one will make it into the theaters in China. Yeah, they were like, how much are we spending on this? 500 million? All right, well, let's make sure it goes to China. That's $1 billion right there. So we're good to go. And that does it for today's show. Talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for joining me. I'm Citizen Smith.
Remind them they can go see your videos.
Oh, right. We have the videos of the Nabisco strike interviews I did with Michael Burlingham, the vice president, and also the murals that were made in the Central East Side on Market of Choices building for a good cause. I interviewed a couple of artists. Both of these we didn't get on the shows in the past 2 days. So come to talkcastpdx.com, go to Citizen Smith, and see these special man on the street videos.